Hello everyone, my name is Chris Johnson and I am one of the clinical specialists with Real-Time, and this is a brief demonstration of some of the reports and dashboards that are available with the Real-Time app. Real-Time is an app that sits on top of a nursing facility's electronic health record, and all day long, every day, pulls information from the record to populate reports and dashboards. Our first report is a clinical alert report that shows all of the simple clinical alerts that can come from any electronic health record. However, we've added some complexity to it to try to show you risk of return to hospital through a risk stratification algorithm that assigns color-coded dots. Red dots mean the residents are at high risk of return to hospital. Green means they're low, and the yellow orangey dots mean they're caution in between. We look at resident-specific averages and do comparison on many data points to the resident's own average. We marry up certain high-risk diagnoses with the very signs and symptoms that could mean an exacerbation of that diagnosis. And we populate interventions coming from the Interact 4 guidelines as well as from AMDA, the American Medical Directors Association's clinical practice guidelines. We have a new alert for MDS coordinators. When we see information in the current charting that is new and different from what was submitted on the initial MDS, we're now doing IPA alerts. I'll be able to show you more in just a moment as I switch to our demo site on our portal. This information is coming from point of care documentation, from SBARs, and is readily available in report form and also on our clinical dashboard in graphic form, as I will demonstrate in a few moments. Our second report is what we call keyword search, and in this report we're reading narrative progress notes. We have about 300 words and short phrases. We have spelled those words correctly and incorrectly. We have abbreviated them. And all day long, every day, we scour the narrative progress notes and show you in a summary report a sentence or two before and a sentence or two after we have found these words written in the chart. Of course, we have words like malnutrition, dehydration, fecal impaction, which it's very important to know that they've been documented appropriately. We also have words like hit, kick, punch, rape, and always identify the author of the note and date and time stamp when that note was written so that you can intervene. These first two reports, this clinical alert report and this search of the narrative progress notes, keyword search, are two of several very important pieces for a new worksheet for MDS coordinators, part of our PDPM complete solution. We have identified the sections of the MDS that impact payment under PDPM. And when we find documentation that we believe is important relative to that section, we populate these resident-specific reports. We're looking at the narrative progress notes. We're looking at point of care charting. We're looking at the ICD-10 directory of diagnosis. We're looking at the orders. We're looking at certain UDAs, user-defined assessments. So we're all over your current chart and populating this worksheet. This is designed to help an MDS coordinator save time when they have a new admission, and also to be sure that they don't miss anything on that 5-day assessment. And so a summary report that is refreshed throughout the day to assist MDS coordinators with not missing any important documentation for PDPM. I'm now going to log into our portal and to our demo site on the portal. And this gives me the chance to tell you that we are portal-based, and so we can be accessed from anywhere at any time of day on any device. And you have an unlimited number of users with your monthly subscription to Real-Time. When you come to the portal, you land on the first of 4 dashboards. This is our financial dashboard, which looks at the CNA documentation every shift, every day on the 4 late loss activities of daily living: bed mobility, transfer, eating, and toileting. This remains important for case mix index payment for Medicaid residents in certain states. It also remains important for quality measure reasons for looking at ADLs. We give the building the ability to easily compare the last 7 days of CNA charting with what was submitted on the most current MDS, and to show side by side the last 7 days compared with the current MDS, so that if you are a therapy manager looking to see in a timely manner if there is significant change, or an MDS coordinator looking at assessment reference dates, or a unit manager or a nurse educator looking at the quality of CNA documentation, you have one report that can help with numerous things. We have a tracking tool for the quality reporting program. We look to show you just those sections of MDSs that have been submitted that are part of QRP, and make it very easy to see what was missing. Our MDS coordinators look at this approximately once a month, and you can be proactive all year long because we can show you very easily and in real time what your submitted MDSs look like just in those certain sections that are part of the QRP program. You can further look at ADLs in a drill down manner from this dashboard, and I apologize, I should have bundled this a moment earlier, but by clicking on any piece of the pie, you can pull up all of the residents that as of midnight last night would fall into the AN split, and be able to easily look at the last 7 days of documentation on those residents. And we go one step further and highlight in red where we have found one particular type of mistake, which we call illogical coding. And if you're an MDS coordinator, you know it never makes sense to be a 1 in your self-performance for anything and simultaneously be scored a 2 that you were assisted with that exact same thing. Real-time makes it very easy to see this type of mistake and then for you to identify further mistakes. We also can show you by nursing assistant who is making mistakes. And so here are the nursing assistants. You can look at how often they document illogically. I sorted this in reverse. And you can quickly see which residents, date and time stamped by resident, by ADL, had illogical answers. Our clinical dashboard takes the first report that I showed you and puts it in a pie chart. So you can look at who in the last 24 hours had any issue with bowel movements, or who fell, or who has weight issues. And if you click on these, you drill down to that section of the report. We have real-time quality measures, which is basically us doing an MDS every day from a QM point of view. You can click on any quality measure and drill down into the resident-specific details. These are coming live out of your charting during the last 2 weeks. These are not MDS QMs. This is live out of your chart. You can sort them by when the last MDS was done. You can choose which residents have an MDS coming up soon and plan to see those people in as timely manner as possible. We group quality measures on the dashboard. You can see residents that have multiple QM issues, and by seeing them grouped together, be better able to develop your strategy to resolve these, because these are live out of your chart. They're not real QMs yet, and you can finally and ultimately be proactive. In our reports folder, we have a real-time Casper-like report where you can get your numerator and with a click see who's in it, your denominator, your real-time average in the last 2 weeks compared with what CMS has published about you, your state, and the national average. Our ProAct dashboard looks at return to hospital. We trend by payer type. We trend by diagnoses. We keep your length of stay. We do hospitalization days per 1,000. And we summarize which residents are at high risk based on our algorithm of flagging on quality measure issues. Our algorithm is always a click away. We're looking at 4 things: the last 72 hours of clinical alerts, how recently someone was admitted, have they been out to the ER or rehospitalized, and the number and type of diagnoses that they have. This is a report that's used at morning meeting for a deeper discussion into what's happening with the resident to avoid potentially avoidable return to hospital. Not only can you see the items that contributed to a score of 10 or higher would put them in the red, but you can view details and you can see the last 72 hours of clinical alerts, their chronic problems that are under treatment. You can see which keywords were coming up in their progress notes. You can see the interventions that are currently in there for the different problems. So some tools for your morning meeting discussion, for change and shift, all designed to help you prevent return to hospital. Our PDPM dashboard contains informational screens. We look at all of the published diagnoses categories and show you your average length of stay for the past 12 months. We trend your minutes of therapy over the past year, and we show you a 5-year history of therapy minutes on the dashboard. We can read UDAs for the GG scores. And if you're doing a UDA for your therapy functional score, we have the ability to read that information in real time from your most current UDA and allow you to trend your GGs over time. You can pull up a list and sort the list, or in reverse, and see where someone is scoring in their GG scores throughout their course of stay so that you're able to proactively keep an eye on that. We do, through our complete solution, alert you to potential increases or decreases in payment if you do an interim payment assessment. Our calculation is based on day 4 of the stay. We can show you which MDS questions or items you answered and how you answered them, and what our PDPM complete solution says is currently going on in the chart. When was your assessment reference date, and what exactly it is that we are finding. And then, as you saw on the dashboard, the economic impact each day for that changing condition. Our PDPM complete report is a report that I showed you on the PowerPoint slide at the beginning. It's a resident-specific worksheet that's looking at the sections of the MDS, looking at many different locations in the chart, and showing you your real-time documentation, and then comparing what's going on after you've completed your initial assessment and making that comparison to give you your potential IPA opportunity. As always, it's my pleasure to present real-time in this way, and we'd love to do a live and in-person webinar for you or a live demonstration for you. So please do contact your representative to arrange a live look at real-time. Thanks again for your time today.